Welcome back to the Empire Builders podcast. Dave Young here, alongside Stephen Semple, and as you know, this is the time when we usually have Stephen whisper the topic of the podcast into my ear. But today, I'm turning the tables, Stephen.
You are.
We're going to talk about one that I'm sort of interested in right now.
Yeah, and I'm excited.
I did tell you what it was. I mean,
Yes.
honestly, I will admit I told you what it was beforehand.
Well, we had a conversation last time I was in Austin, and you mentioned this business, and I started doing a little bit of looking into it, and I thought, wow, we should talk about this. But since you had already had a lot of knowledge on it, I was like, Dave, we should talk about
I mean,
this.
cool, huh?
Yeah.
It's really kind of interesting.
So let everybody know what we're talking about.
We're talking about baseball, sort of baseball. It's a new form of baseball called banana ball.
Just before you had told me about it, I'd heard about someone else had mentioned it to me, and I thought it was pretty fascinating. But give us a background on banana ball.
So this guy named Jesse Cole and his wife buy this summer baseball league team in Savannah, Georgia that had gone belly up. I think before maybe they were called the Sand Gnats or something like that.
Okay, so basically it was a defunct, bankrupt, out of business junior baseball team.
I think the kind of league that plays like summer times with college
Right.
kids. So it came with the stadium, right?
Okay.
Whoever owns the franchise gets use of the stadium. So they spent a couple years just trying to figure out how to make baseball more interesting.
Right.
Here you've got this weird little baseball team that nobody's been able to make succeed.
Okay, before you go any deeper, Dave, how sold out are they?
Dude, for the 2025 season, they've got more than 1,000,000 people on their waiting
On
list.
their waiting list.
These are people that are saying, "Please, please let me buy a ticket."
Right, right. Like, think about
Yeah.
this. Wouldn't you love to have a baseball team that not only is sold out, you have a million
Has yeah.
people on the waiting list hoping for tickets, and this is not a major league team.
This is in Savannah, Georgia, in a stadium that's just basically, it's not even fully surrounding the field.
Right. I just wanted people to understand the success this team is having.
Here's the really cool thing. Their success is not based on wins and losses.
Right.
It's based on entertaining people. This guy understands customer experience to a deep, deep level, and what he was looking at. And he's a baseball player. He coached. He baseball flows in his blood. But he looked at it, and he's like, what are the things that people hate about baseball, right? And this is actually one of the little social media snippets that really got my attention was when he said, "What do your customers hate? What do your customers hate about doing business with you or doing business in your category? Find out those things and get rid of those things."
Right. In marketing parlance, we call that friction.
Right? You get rid of the friction. So he looks at baseball. Number one, what do people hate? You buy a ticket to a baseball game or a concert or anything else, and there's tax listed on it, and there's ticketing fees listed on it, and you're like, just tell me the price of the damn ticket.
Right.
So he said, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover the tax, and we're not going to have any fees because we're going to put our own system in.
Right.
Right. So now you can buy a ticket with no fees and things like that attached. So you're cool with that. You hate buying food at a ballpark, right? So they started every ticket you buy was all inclusive, all you could eat.
Wow.
So you go to the ball game and you want a hot dog, here, have an extra one to take back to your seat with you, right? Have a couple of hamburgers, whatever it is you want. It's part of the ticket price. So you could take your whole family there. You know what the tickets are going to cost. You know what you're going to spend on food, which is $0 additional dollars, and have a good time. And then they started looking at what do people hate about the game? And baseball games are too unpredictable, and they may go way longer than you anticipated spending watching a baseball
Right.
game. Right? There's extra innings. There's the batter always just takes a couple steps back out of the batter's box right when the pitcher's ready to pitch. And then the manager goes out to the pitcher's mound, or the catcher goes out to the pitcher's mound, and they have a little conversation. Maybe they're going to swap out pitchers, and it's all this time suck.
You know, it's interesting because I was just looking up, these guys started in 2016, and I'm not a huge
Mhm.
baseball fan, but I
Me
see but
either.
I seem to recall it was a few years ago that they changed some of the rules in baseball to sort of speed
Oh,
the
yeah, we're
game
getting
up.
there.
Okay. All
We're
right.
we're getting there. They in
Okay.
fact In fact, 2 years ago, they dropped the college baseball team. They're like, "No, we're not gonna participate in that league anymore. We're doing our own thing." They
Wow.
became an independent.
Completely independent.
So and they don't play baseball anymore, they play banana ball, right? And there's a difference, and there are some diehard baseball people out there that hate this. Now, we also say, right, if you have detractors that are just as vocal as your biggest fans, you're doing something
You
right.
are actually. Yeah.
Right, and so the kind of baseball nerds that sit in the stands and keep score on their own scorecard
Yeah.
or watch TV,
Yeah.
right? Those are the baseball nuts um, that love the game for the statistical relevance to and the order and the beauty of the numbers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the rest of us are like, "I just wanna see a fun game,"
Right.
right? I wanna go out to the ballpark, I wanna have a good time, I wanna forget my troubles. I don't wanna sit there and watch some guy, do practice swings and take, step out. So, and I'm doing this all from memory. They created the rules of banana ball, and
Mhm.
banana ball is just played a little bit differently. So they have, a strict time limit.
So going back to your whole thing, what do people hate? One of the things they don't like is the unpredictability of when it starts and when it ends. They want it to be more like a movie.
Yeah, I'm
Here's when it starts, here's where it ends. Okay.
if I go to a baseball game and it goes into extra innings, right, I may be there for 3.5 hours.
Right.
You don't know. So, these guys put a time limit. If the game starts at 7, it's gonna be done by 9.
Right. So it starts at 7, ends at 9. Done. Okay.
No extra innings. They have their own means of breaking ties and things like that, but they also runs scored is not the metric that they use to determine who's gonna win the game. It's points. It's almost like match play in golf.
Right. Okay.
So you win an inning based on having more points than the other side, and the points are scored by runs. They're also scored by things like trick plays.
Okay.
So, for example, you're in the outfield and somebody pops a nice fly ball out, and you catch the ball while you're doing a backflip.
That's extra points.
So you're in the air, you're doing a backflip, and you catch the ball, you get trick play points, and that adds to the cumulative. I haven't quite figured
Yeah.
out the whole scorekeeping thing, but there's an incentive to do that, and it doesn't always go well. They're all good baseball players, but they're not Major League Baseball players. And some of them have several years of minor league experience. They're all athletes that play baseball and are good entertainers.
Right.
Right, so think Cirque du Soleil more than think Major League
Well, what came
Baseball.
to mind to me is we've seen this before, and this is the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, so Jesse Cole, the guy that started this, appreciates the comparison, but he also rejects it for a couple of reasons. So the Harlem Globetrotters, anybody that ever went to a Harlem Globetrotters game, man, it was like the circus coming to town. The circus shows up and you buy your tickets, you go into the stadium or the arena, and the Globetrotters play against their captive loser team, the Washington Generals or whatever.
Right.
I think it was the Generals, right? They had this team that traveled with them that always just got the snot kicked out of
Right.
them by the Globetrotters because the Globetrotters are the stars.
Right.
And what Jesse Cole did is for the first season or two, they were playing, they would just divide the team up into a yellow squad and a green squad.
Okay.
But in the last couple of years, they actually started another team.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they have a team called the Party Animals.
Okay.
And so when you go to a banana ball game, they play the Party Animals, and you don't know who's gonna win. They're pretty evenly
So it's a
divided.
real
It's a real
competition.
competition,
That's the difference. Okay.
and the players don't change
Right.
teams.
Okay.
The bananas have their own team, and the Party Animals have their own team, and the recruitment process is, separate for each team.
Right. Interesting.
For the coming year, I'm not sure if it's happening in 2025. I think they've got 2 more teams,
Wow.
coming on board for 2025. I'll get to what their 2025 plan is, but, like, there's gonna be a, Texas Tailgaters team, and I forget the 4th team. But, no, these guys play a straight up ball game at every game. So
Wow.
there's no you're not just watching the Savannah Bananas showing off, right? That's sort of the gist of Harlem Globetrotters was you're gonna see Curly and
Right.
Metal Arc Lemon, and these guys are gonna do their thing, and they've gotta have these, not so good players to play against.
One of my favorite rules that they added I looked up a little tiny bit of this, but if a fan
W
catches the foul ball, it's an out. I
Yes.
love that.
So in an this is really cool, and it's an effort to speed up play,
Yeah.
right? So it's not just a foul ball. No, you're out. If a fan catches the ball, sorry, buddy, you're out. And they celebrate it, right?
Right.
They'll actually bring the fan down onto the field.
That's cool.
And it also when you've got 2 competing teams, you have to make a decision. Are you gonna catch the ball or
Right.
and make your
If
batter
it's the
out?
team I'm rooting for and the ball comes right to me, what do I
Swat
do?
it to the ground, man. Another thing that they do that speeds up plays, they don't allow, you can't have a conference on the mound.
Right.
Like, you can't send the manager out, you can't send the catcher out. You can change the pitcher, but you can't just go out there and have a little chat
Right.
out on the pitcher's mound. And to speed up the batting, if the batter steps out of the box, he's out. Here's the really funny one. If you bunt if you bunt, you're not just out, you're ejected from the game. And I think sometimes maybe they do that just to, like, have the ref, "You're outta here," right? He's doing the whole arm pointing out of the stadium.
So what I'm understanding here is what they did, and I love how you put it because we have to talk about friction, and I think it's a poor word because I don't think everybody understands it.
Stay tuned. We're going to wrap up this story and tell you how to apply this lesson to your business right after this.
What? Message. What? No. What is the message?
How?
Media.
What?
Not what, but how. How is media?
Which is first?
Message. What you have to say is first.
But I thought how was first.
No, media is second. How the message is delivered is less important than what you have to say. Your message.
So the message is key?
Yes. Oh, and you can book your free starter session on this podcast website.
Back to you, Dave. Dave? Dave?
Let's pick up our story where we left off, and trust me, you haven't missed a thing.
So it seems like the first iteration was, and I love how you put it because we have to talk about friction, and I think it's a poor word because I don't think everybody understands
It's
it.
hard to understand.
But this whole idea of what do people not like, and let's eliminate those things. So what do we not like?
Yes.
We don't like the fact we don't know when the game is going to end. We don't like the fact that we don't know how much it's going to cost us because there's going to be concessions and all those other things, especially if you got a family. We don't like all these little extra charges that are on the ticket. So iteration number one is get rid of all that crap, which I really admire them for, especially the concession one. Because what I'm going to tell you is that's really bold.
Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome. But then it sounds like what you're saying to me is they did a next iteration, and the next iteration on it was let's now look at the game itself,
Yeah.
and eliminate all the things that people don't like about the game, plus add extra entertaining factors to
Add
it.
extra thing. Yeah. So their philosophy is it's really simple. It's called Fans First.
Okay.
And in fact, Jesse Cole wrote a book. I just finished the audiobook last week, and it's called Fans First.
Okay.
And it's a great listen. I really enjoyed it. And so when you start eliminating the things that people hate about the game of baseball and want to make it fun, I mean, if you've ever been to a Cirque du Soleil, there's something going on all the time.
Absolutely.
And there's something going on before the game
Yes.
starts, right? So these guys have a pregame. There's entertainment happening from the moment you walk into the ballpark till the time the last inning or whatever is over. And it ranges from things like almost every batter has their own walkout music or sometimes a walkout celebration.
Yeah.
Right? Some of them have like a marching band that brings them out to the plate.
Wow. That's fun.
They do the referees do tricks, like they'll do a backflip while they're calling you safe or out.
Right.
The referee behind home plate is this sort of big heavy guy, and he'll be twerking while the music's playing and the pitcher's going. Batters can steal first.
Okay. Yeah.
This is baseball. Batters can steal first base. Anytime you think you have it, like a pitch goes wild and the catcher's got to run after it and chase it, you can take off for first and steal first. And in fact, you can't walk. There's no walks in this game. So ball 4, you take off for first, and now you're a runner, but you're live. And the only way they can get you out is if the ball has to be handled by all 7 of the fielders that aren't the pitcher and the catcher. All right. So they have to throw to the right field, the center field, the left field, third base, shortstop, second base, first, all 7 of them have to touch the ball before they can make a play on the runner. So if you can get to second base before they've thrown to everybody, you can get to second on a walk.
Right.
It's pretty interesting to watch because they all start running towards second base, right? So they don't have
They would practice that. Yeah.
they don't have very far to throw the ball, but you're almost guaranteed first, just as if it were a walk, but you have the chance of making it further.
Right.
And there's an entertainment aspect to watching the team throw the ball around to see if they're gonna, if one of them makes a bad throw,
That's it.
someone doesn't catch it, right? You're gonna have an extra base. One of the players on the Bananas is a guy named Stilt, and he plays the entire game on 6-foot stilts.
Wow. Okay.
He pitches, he bats. It's nuts.
And so here's the interesting thing about all this is, and I find it fascinating, and I'm going to have to look more into this team, is that here you had a failed junior team. And let's face it, junior teams, there's a challenge in every sport to have junior teams making money. Like, he just put the rules right on its head from the standpoint
Yeah.
of at its heart, this is entertainment. And yeah, what he's rejected is this whole idea of my job is to be a farm team for the major leagues.
Yeah, well, and I don't think these guys ever were.
Right. Like, they're
Right,
one
they're
of,
not controlled by
right.
they had 1 million people on their waiting list when they were just still in Savannah. And then, 2 summers ago, they did their first world tour, and they played 1 weekend game, couple of games in Mobile, Alabama.
Right.
Filled a stadium there for 2 games.
Right.
Okay? And then this past summer, they played at 5 or 6 other places besides Savannah, major league ball fields.
Right. So
and
big
filled them.
fields. That's incredible.
Big fields. They announced their schedule for 2025.
Yeah.
2 new teams, so the games will be, sort of round robin between these 4 teams. Stephen, they're gonna play in 30 major league stadiums
Wow.
in 2025.
That's incredible.
And they've got a waiting list that will sell all of them out. And one of the places they're gonna play is Clemson University's football field,
That's a big field.
which holds like 90,000.
That's incredible.
And they're gonna turn that into a baseball diamond somehow. They're gonna put nets up and
So we already know what the lesson is here, which is about this thinking differently, leaning into the entertainment, everything else. And there's the book that you recommended people should read that you said is fascinating. But to wrap things up, I think you had also mentioned that you're thinking about doing a course at the academy on this.
it's gonna be next spring sometime. I don't have the dates nailed down yet, but I'm gonna do a 2-day class on banana ball.
That's fabulous.
And basically, I mean, I can tell you the outline of it right now is we're going to use Jesse Cole's book as our textbook.
Yeah.
And we're going to just do some lessons and workshop some ideas for how do you do in your business, whatever your business is, right? Maybe you're an acupuncturist, maybe you're a plumber, but how do you get rid of the things that people hate and start thinking about your customers as your fans and do more of what they love and be more entertaining in everything that you do.
You know what? Sign me up. I'm going to be there for that class.
Okay. By the way, go to savannahbananas.com and get on their ticket list. Here's the thing. You're on the list for 1 stadium. You have to pick which town you want a ticket for and put your phone number in, and you're only allowed to be on there once.
Wow. That's cool.
So they're playing 2 games, one in San Antonio and one in Round Rock, just north of Austin.
All right.
Next year. So I'm excited about it. Like we said, I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I am a fan of somebody taking something that like baseball and flipping it on its head. Again, diehard baseball fans don't like this, but they turned it into a circus.
Yep.
The circus is coming to town.
I love it.
And Jesse Cole is the new P.T. Barnum.
So I have to now take the Dave one. Thank you for sharing this story with us, Dave.
Oh, as you can tell, I'm kind of excited
Yeah,
about this.
yeah.
So
And hey, people should go check out periodically wizardacademy.org. Watch for this course. I'm going to be there. It'll be fun.
get on our newsletter list.
Yeah.
You can just create a free little account on wizardacademy.org, and that way you'll get our emails. And when we announce the dates of this class, hopefully by the time this podcast airs, the dates will be
That
up.
would be awesome. That'd be awesome.
All right.
Super. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please share us, subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a big, fat, juicy 5-star rating and review at Apple Podcasts. And if you'd like to schedule your own 90-minute empire building session, you can do it at empirebuildingprogram.com.